A guy goes to Las Vegas to gamble and he loses all his money. He doesn't even have enough for a cab, but he flagged one down anyway. He explained to the driver that he would pay him back next time and gave him his phone number, but the driver told him, "Get the fuck out of my cab." That's actually a pretty good one. R-Pro Revenge, CLEVER, decade-old one from movie Rabbit Without Ears. Good one. Read a fresh one after a long time. Cheers. Good old 172. Video version of joke. Funny way to get revenge, even though the cab driver didn't deserve any sort of revenge. It's funny, but old AF though. Someone can't take a joke. Honestly, the title on its own is a good enough joke in a subverting expectations kind of way. Smiley face. Smiley face. Not really a punchline but amusing. 5 stars. I didn't see that one coming. A young man a couple years out of college has a bad day at work. This would have been so much funnier if the punchline was, "Well son, if you feel like that, you're fired." Guy goes to his boss and says, "I know I haven't worked here very long and have been off sick quite a bit, but I think I deserve a raise." The boss thinks for a second and replies, "Well, I think I can do better than that. How about a promotion with a decent raise, a BMW company car, a new big office and a parking spot right outside the building entrance?" The guy is amazed and says, "Wow, that's perfect. Surely you must be joking." I am, says the boss, "But you started it." I don't get the punchline. When you don't like co-workers and or bosses, you should start your own company isn't really a joke, is it? Considering how big of a deal it was, it's really surprising that the moon landing is not a national holiday in the US. We can't even get election day to be a holiday. Why do you think it's called Monday? It is a holiday, just not when anyone gets off work. I think the anniversary of Yuri Gagarin going to space as the first person in history should be an international holiday for all countries. First time in history anything intentionally left the planet's surface. You could eat cheese to celebrate, because it was obviously faked and they don't want to draw any additional scrutiny or investigation. To be fair, too many people don't be alive it even happened, so it's really not a surprise. It is a national holiday on the moon. If we had a holiday reminding us of it constantly, we would start to realize how little we've done since that in space since because of funding. Depends on the area I think. Guy I knew that lived up there never worked a day in his life. I once met a girl with 12 nipples. She must have been a real pig. This deserves more recognition than it's getting. Smiley face. Smiley face. I remember her. Thanks for the memories. Imagine if she was carved on a DB. Pretty weird, wouldn't it? The more the merrier. Don't let it shock you. Stay abreast of the matter. A nice looking swine she was. I once met a girl with 12 nippies. She was walking the beach with 5 hippies. That bitch. That's William Shatner level humor. Smiley face. Glowing star. Sure it wasn't a dozen Tic Tacs. Said she borrowed that belt from her friend Ed Gein. She was very bossy. This joke is only so-so. I recently ordered a new sail for my boat. A few days later I realized I'd made a mistake and called to change the order. The person that answered said, "Was the person you talked to a salesman?" When I told the salesman that I needed a cloth sail, he said, "Sorry, all sails are vinyl." There was a sail, but if you fail to pick the right sail, the sail states you gotta keep the sail. I have very specific taste in puns, but some of these are not too shabby. What the hell? That is total bullshit. You can't return an item that was on sale. You should have just mastered that situation. All sales are final. They were just trying to wind you up. All sales are final. I think I busted a jib reading that. I keeled over with laughter. I thought you got 14 days. Sale or return? That sale, it's missing. Guess all sales are final. I keeled over laughing. No, that sale has shipped. Medical workers of Reddit. What were the most haunting last words you've heard from a patient? I don't work in a hospital. But when I was younger my family moved in with my grandmother to take care of her while she was dying from lung cancer. I used to sit with her in the den and read to her. One morning, she looked right at me and said, "Go get your father, I'm dying today." Then she did. In my grandma's last days we went to visit her. She had exactly one lucid day, and she asked, "Is everybody here to see me?" I said yes and she said, "Why? Am I dying?" I held back tears and told her, "We just love you very much." Even typing it now I'm crying. Not quite what the post title is asking, but even though it was over 10 years ago now, I still think about how I was once listening to someone's chest and heard their last ever heartbeat. My wife asked me if I wanted to come on the trampoline and jump with her 144 times. You know, before your wife got on it, those were called jumpolines. I got my ungrateful son a trampoline for Christmas. All he does is sit in his wheelchair and cry about it. I am just going to reread it until I get it. Check back in a few hours. Lol, nasty and clever. Don't be such a square. Okay, where does the 144 come from? Sure honey, I'm head over heels for you. Stutters he doesn't. Potions in Harry Potter seems easier than it's made out to be, until you remember how many people in real life have trouble with cooking and baking. Also, their textbook sucks. It's apparently been in use for at least 20 years, and a high schooler was able to write enough tips in the margins to make Potter look like an expert in comparison to people working from the book. I have no idea why Snape didn't just write his own book. As a person with a degree in chemistry who also cooks and bakes, I would have obliterated potions. If you stir your cookies the wrong direction, they don't turn into poison. I always imagined it cooking but being taught by a chemist. Take the banana and distill the radioactive potassium isotope from it. This will be used to react with the hemoglobin from the blood of your steak. A female reporter attempted to recreate the famous novel around the world in 80 days. Not only did she complete it with 8 days to spare, she made a detour to interview Jules Verne, the original author. Nellie Bly's most amazing work, Emo, was going undercover at the mental hospital on Blackwell's Island, now Roosevelt Island, to report on the atrocious treatment of the mentally ill. Nellie Bly is so fly. She was a famous muckraker that exposed the awful conditions of sanitariums. A female Bly is pretty famous. You can use her name in the headline. Well duh, she didn't have to deal with Detective Fix interfering. Famous badass Nellie Bly. Why not put her name in the title instead of just a female reporter? She's actually a very famous reporter activist. This lady deserves her own biopic. Apple Watch sales in 2020 amounted to $30.6 billion compared to the whole Swiss watch market exports of $16 billion. So like 5 Patek Philippe watches? This makes sense to me. I have an Apple Watch and a Swiss watch Omega. One of them will last longer than my grandchildren and the other will be useless in a few short years. If I want to keep the Apple Watch going, I'll have to buy it again, so more frequent purchases tracks here. I didn't even notice Op's name at first. I enjoy both TBH. Smart watches are really useful, but traditional watches are so damn aesthetic. It's jewelry. Especially pocket watches, beautiful things. I had an Apple Watch from like 2017 that is a brick as Apple no longer supports it. I have an Omega that has been doing fine since 1992. I have a Patek Philippe from my grandfather that he bought in the 1940s, and it still works fine. The US Navy has its own Army, which in turn has its own Air Force. The US Marine Corps Aviation is the 5th largest air force in the world. I am sure the USMC will be okay with being called the Navy's Army, lol. Gonna blow your mind when you hear about the US Army's Navy. America loves its military so much even its military has militaries. And the Army Air Force is the 4th, and the Navy is the 2nd, and the actual Air Force is the 1st, Russia is 3. The rest of the top 10 is as follows. 6 India. 7 China. 8 Japan. 9 Israel. 10 France. As someone from a NATO country non-US with a Spec Ops background, I can testify that the US military is mind-blowingly large. There are advantages to being small, greater concentration of resources and training opportunities, but to put it bluntly, the might of the US military, when unleashed, is unfathomable. That Better Call Saul was nominated for 53 Primetime Emmys without winning a single one. Crime of the century. That says more about the Emmys than Better Call Saul. Such a crime. It's better and more emotionally impactful than Breaking Bad in my opinion. One of the best TV shows of the last 10 years. Odenkirk and Seahorn at least deserved Emmys. That's messed up. What a sick joke. And those other shows get to win Emmys? What a sick joke. That moment in the apartment when you know who showed up shot you know who. Holy shit. It's because Bob likes feet. That is some Peter O'Toole crap. This is the television equivalent of Kendrick Lamar losing the Grammy to Macklemore. Further cementing the proof that award shows don't mean shit. Fuck the is goated. It hurts. Man, it hurts. The black hole, ton 618, is so big 66 million solar masses. A new term was invented to describe an ultramassive black hole. Whispers in distorted sound. Supermassive black hole. There's a bigger black hole out there called Phoenix A, and it comes in at 100 billion solar masses. How big is that in acres? I'm so flipping interested in this stuff, but every time I get about 5 minutes into it, my brain gives me a fuck it, I'm out. If you know you know. Its shortened name is just known as Yo Mama. We should switch to the Scottish scale. We. Less we. Friggin' huge. Obligatory curse Jessica. If a black hole is infinite, how does it get bigger? Shouldn't it always remain a single point in space no matter how much it sucks up? The girlfriend asked me what I was doing on the computer. Imagine if you've been looking for first-class flights. Why the random gap between the indent cave? Say no more until she's finished. Actually, you'd better get airline tickets or there'll be no more BJs. Most expensive darts you've ever bought. Someone care to explain? She'll give you the 180. I never knew she exited. Either way, she ain't coming. Which surprised me as she's never been interested in beer before. three friends decided to bet each other $100 on who could make their wives scream more during sex. I mounted my wife from behind, then told her from that angle she looks like my secretary. She bucked and screamed all day while I held on for dear life. I call it rodeo sex. I guessed from the title it was going to be Spunky Curtain. Similar to joke 6452, my wife and I had sex for 3 straight hours last. Said she wanted to do some role-playing and decided to be the doctor. I played the patient who was in the waiting room for 2 hours and 58 minutes. Screamed during sex. Third guy lost. My wife and I have sex almost every day. Almost on Monday, almost on Tuesday. Same joke. Different day. The wife broke down and cried. Just had to use some hot sauce. I just call her while I'm having sex with her sister. What's an immediate red flag that you are in a dangerous neighborhood? Chris Rock said it best: if you enter a neighborhood at noon and you see men walking around in sweatpants, lifting weights in the front yard, and using a child's bike as their mode of transportation, you are in danger. The middle of the day and all dudes hanging out in the streets. No women walking around. The gas station cashier is behind one bulletproof glass. Cops in Atlanta on foot patrol telling us that they don't let anybody hang out on the stoop of a building after midnight, even if you were just smoking. Minutes later some guy walked up and told us we needed to move along and then lifted his shirt to show the pistol in his waistband. We went inside. Check cashing pawn shop, check cashing liquor store, check cashing metro PCS, check cashing mine resisted ambush protected convenience store, check cashing shoe store, Dollar General. A grown man riding a child's bike down the middle of the road, bars on all the windows. What's quietly disappeared in the past 20 years without many people noticing? People having their watches set to slightly different times. Telephone. By coincidence, we're also the way out of the matrix. Privacy. Variety. Everything is becoming the same 10 mega corporations. Just waiting for Ford, Meta and Pepsi to merge. The compact, 4-cylinder, 2-seater, no-nonsense pickup truck. If you want a pickup now, it has to be a massive luxury tank that costs 80 grand. The hole in the ozone layer. Home phones. The amount of product in their respective packages. Package is roughly the same size but the actual amount of product. Newspaper vending machines. I used to see them everywhere as a kid. Saw one the other day and realized I hadn't seen one in years. Kind of seems like a crazy concept now. You would put in 50 cents and it's on the honor system that you pull out just one newspaper. What's the greatest opening line to a song? Does "Hello, I'm Johnny Cash" count in the live version of Folsom Prison Blues? Hello darkness my old friend. Do you have the time to listen to me whine? Treble clef with staff. We come from the land of the ice and snow, from the midnight sun where the hot springs flow. Hammer of the gods will drive our ships to new lands. There must be some kind of way out of here, said the Joker to the thief. Tumble out of bed. And I stumble to the kitchen. Pour myself a cup of ambition. And yawn and stretch and try to come to life. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. So you think you can tell heaven from hell? Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. Pulled into Nazareth, was feeling about a half past dead. In the time of chimpanzees I was a monkey. I like big butts and I cannot lie. Who do you think of most often when you masturbate? Am I still connected to the living room Bluetooth? Previous experiences. The porn video I have playing right in front of me for the purpose of thinking about it when I masturbate. Intricate subqueries in sequel. That chick I could have fucked 17 years ago but didn't. Usually my wife, doing things she'd never do. If the toilet door is locked or not. You. I think about you. Boobs. That scene from The Brave Little Toaster where the toaster throws itself into the gears of the trash compactor to save his owner. What? A frozen burrito so big it can't fit in God's microwave. It helps me last longer. Margaret Thatcher. Typically. Taboo fantasies. Usually, it's stuff that I'd never do in real life. Probably can even explain why it turns me on. Anna de Armas. The video I'm looking at and sometimes the double blowjob I got in a threesome 10 years ago. Who are the greatest of all time in their respective fields that are still living? Dr. Lawrence Einhorn discovered using platinum-based chemo for testicular cancer. This resulted in cure rates jumping from bleak to over 95. Usain Bolt. Hakuho, the GOAT in sumo. His achievements will never be eclipsed. Magnus, if you believe Magnus, Garry Kasparov. Michael Phelps. When Steven Spielberg approached John Williams to compose for Schindler's List, the latter saw a cut of the film and said there are better composers for this than me. Spielberg replied, I know, but they're all dead. Wayne Gretzky comes to mind. Sir David Attenborough is still alive. Ronnie O'Sullivan Snooker. According to the mug I gave him, my dad was the world's greatest dad of all time. You pay taxes on money you make, taxed money that you spend, and taxed things that you already paid taxes on with already taxed money. Damn, I've only seen this posted on Facebook 8 times this week. Wait until you learn that the electrons in your house wiring just moves back and forth, and you get charged for the same electrons over and over again. I get that we pay a lot of taxes, but I can't follow what you're saying in the title post at all. Did you just turn 18? If only we were taxed on poor grammar in post titles. Yeah. This is why when federal income tax as we currently know it was announced by Taft, a lot of people were mad about it. Fun history here. Weird. It's almost like taxes are incurred whenever money changes hands. Who is this FICA dude and why is he getting so much of my paycheck? And if you're a government worker, all this applies, and you're taxed on money you're paid, which is tax money. Hitting 99 on a microwave makes it cook for longer than if you hit 100. Our old microwave didn't have the quick minute button. So you had to hit 1,0,0 if you wanted 1 minute. My wife would get frustrated when I would hit 6,6 or 5 step. This has got to be the best shower thought of the day. Mind blown. Mine has a dial. Sigh. Relieved face. Got it from Sanford his son. I used this as a scavenger hunt clue once, something along the lines of when is 100 less than 99? I like this one. Haha, you have a lot of free time. Upside down face. Works better as A is 99 greater than 100? Hitting 666 then walking away is a fun way to screw with your housemates. Maybe I'm missing something, but how are you gonna make the microwave show 99 seconds? Does yours not count minutes like a normal clock? What's something that sounds completely illogical but is actually correct? Saudi Arabia imports camels from Australia. If you have 23 people together in a room, there is a better than 50 chance that 2 of them share a birthday same day and month. Not necessarily the same year. Inflammable means flammable. Water expands when frozen, but almost everything else contracts when frozen. The U.S. Army tried a camel corps in the Southwest, in the early 19th century, mostly as pack animals or using for mail service. As far west as Southern California, when the Civil War interrupted their experiment, they sold the camels off, but some escaped. As a result, there were feral camels at one point in the Angeles National Forest. Drake got exposed for neglecting his son by the guy that wrote the McDonald's jingle. The speed of light is constant on all reference frames.